Okay, so I wanted to make a video about these MacBook Airs and MacBooks in general, and the issue with using iCloud on these machines, especially when you like buy a very high tier iCloud storage account. So, and use any other kind of like cloud service on a computer with a very small drive to make up for the lack of space. So this machine came to me because of the broken SSD. So it doesn't see the SSD inside, which is probably a result of the drive failure, because the user was using a very huge iCloud account on this machine, which only had a 128 gigabyte SSD. These machines were shipped by default with 128 gigabyte of SSD up until 2017, I think. This is an 11-inch model, but there's also the 13-inch MacBook Air. They use basically like Broadwell processors that were made in 2015, but they still sold it for another 2 years. And yeah, so very interesting. This one has already been opened by someone, for sure. Anyway, let's disconnect the battery. So this is older actually. I think this one is maybe 20. Oh, I don't know actually. I'm not sure. I can't recognize that because of the battery connector being different. I'm used to the 13-inch. This one is 11-inch. Well, anyway, so the drive died because whenever you use any kind of storage that is on the cloud, and you start to wonder why your drive is always full anyway, and that's because you don't really work on the cloud. Every time you open any kind of document that is stored on the cloud, you're actually working on a copy that is downloaded straight away to your drive inside of the computer in a cache folder, and that is causing a lot of drive writes and reads, and that's what kills the drive. It's always full, it's always been read to and erased from because of those caching routines from your storage cloud service, which in this case is iCloud. So your drive dies, and there's nothing you can do really about that, except for, in this case, I'm gonna put a 1 terabyte aftermarket SSD on it, and that will solve the problem from the get-go, because you're not gonna use any kind of cloud service in the same way, because you're gonna have all the data that is on the cloud that is also stored fully on the machine, so you're not gonna have to download, write, and then when you finish to work on that, you're gonna need to erase that in the same way. So when your drive is big enough and you just have to select the option to have your files to be both inside the drive and inside the cloud, your drive is gonna be so much better off in the end. You're not gonna have so many operations. You're just gonna use it as a normal drive. You're just gonna wear it down as a normal drive. Immediately, this can also happen if you don't use any kind of cloud services, because you have 128 gigabyte of storage anyway, and this is not enough for a lot of people. And they used to run this like always at full capacity, without understanding that this causes a lot more wear on the drive alone. But the cloud services are the worst offenders. And I think that's all. So please avoid, if you can, make sure that you get a machine with a proper SSD for what you plan to use the machine for, and you're not going to rely everything on the cloud. So especially now that the new MacBook Air M2 has a very slow basic model drive, with the 256 gigabyte model being like only one chip, so it's gonna cut your half your write and read. And that's for all. Bye bye. Now, another issue that is, I think, more specific to iCloud is that in their effort from Apple to like cut every kind of option preference setting on their services and every kind of device and everything they do, I could never understand how iCloud actually behaves in a lot of situations. And apparently neither did a lot of my clients, which usually, like very often, come to the store because they accidentally deleted something from iCloud. Usually their whole computer because of some like misclick or just not understanding what that happens, and they find also their recycle bin to be completely empty. And this also happened today by kind of coincidence. So today we had 2 iCloud related issues in the store. I maybe that's something that like the kind of people my target audience wouldn't do, but you sure have some partners, help, friends, whatever, that could benefit from such a device. Yeah, I don't know how, but it's very, very common for people to accidentally delete everything on their computer because of iCloud. So today's story was, I went to the Apple store. I was complaining about my phone being full, and they suggested me to delete the files from my iCloud drive that were sitting inside the phone. And when I proceeded to do that, and then I came back home, I opened up the computer, and the folders, everything on the computer started to disappear straight away in front of my eyes. And before I could do anything, my whole computer was empty. And I don't know how that could happen. How the hell at Apple someone thought that it was a good behavior from the service that is supposed to be used by your grandma too. But yeah, apparently this happened, and there is nothing on the recycle bin. So this girl came to the store straight away. This happened this morning, and at around 9 in the morning, and which is actually the day after that they suggested her to delete everything from the phone. And she came to me at around 11 in the morning, and there was nothing in her recycle bin. And I read that iCloud is supposed to keep your files for 30 days after deletion. And she had a 100 gigabyte iCloud storage drive, which was still like 20 gigabytes occupied by the photos, I think. But every document, everything else was deleted, which is what the, I guess, Genius Bar suggested her to do on the phone, to reclaim some space from the phone. And as you know, this doesn't. She had like a 2019 MacBook Pro, so that means that the drive was inside. It was crypto locked by the T2's chip. So I didn't even try to do a data recovery on that because she kept it all on. So probably like having the drive encrypted and trim routines, everything the way modern SSD work. I'm not sure I could have been able to recover any files from that. I just suggested her to escalate the issue with the Genius Bar, where she went to yesterday, and try to understand if maybe Apple keeps any kind of backup of her files, which I don't think happens, but that's a hope. So, in an effort to make everything very easy to use, straightforward, I'm very confused about the way iCloud actually works, and why the hell that's the standard behavior that is supposed to happen to your files when you delete them from your phone. But apparently it is. Yeah, I don't know really. I'm usually working with Dropbox or pCloud, and I never had this kind of issues. But again, I never worked with a full drive. Oh yeah, of course the girl. Oh, I don't think that girl had actually the drive full. She didn't purchase the iCloud storage option because her drive was full. So that's not even the reason, I think. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't check. I didn't turn it on. But maybe that was the case because she had 100 gigabyte of storage and the drive was maybe 256, I guess, or I don't know if the Apple sold any 128 gigabyte MacBook Pro in 2019. But that's a story. So thanks for watching, and yeah, friends don't let friends use iCloud. Okay? Please don't. It's also very expensive, so why?